Dazzling rays off the water plays, and I shield my eyes to take in the clear blue skies. My feet on the rail, the swell of the sail, alive in the breeze, a moment.
This winter we're sailing all along the East Coast and pulling into small towns to different harbors and ports, giving free dockside tours, encouraging folks to live their dream. Let us be an example and an inspiration to them, and telling them if they don't make their dream a reality, nobody's going to do it for them.
How did all this get started?
Well, I've been around boats all my life, and when I was 4, I built a little boat that didn't work very well, but after that I built a kit with my dad, an 8-foot pram, and sailed and rode that, and I've been fooling with boats ever since.
A few years after meeting Hugh, you decided to pursue your dream. Give us an account of that.
We met in November of 2009, and then I moved to Drummond Island in 2010, and waiting for the New Year's Eve ball to drop that year, I asked him, what do you want to do in life? What's important to you? Because I'm a firm believer, if you don't name your dream, if you don't put words to it, it'll never happen. And I wanted to go to Belize. He said he wanted to build a schooner. And I had been on a couple of schooners with him, I as a volunteer, him as a captain, and so I understood how big that word was. So we wrote it on the board, and a few years later we looked at each other and said, you know what, we're not getting any younger, let's do it. So we emptied out the bank accounts, and we emptied out the retirement accounts, and we scrounged for 2 nickels to rub together, and wound up taking out a small business loan. But 2.5 years of building, we launched her.
And what made you decide to build a schooner?
Well, I've been a tall ship captain of schooners for 20-something years, and I built a Sharpie, a 36-foot Sharpie, which is a very similar design, and finished that in '98. So as soon as I did that, it's a really fun boat, but standing headroom it lacks, and so I wanted to build a bigger boat. And after a while, here I am.
This was a big step. What made you sure that you could achieve your dream?
We talked about what it would take to build a schooner. And in sitting down, we talked about how long it would take, how much materials it would take, what finances it would take, where we would build it. We looked at all the different parameters involved of what type of business or nonprofit organization we would want to construct along with the construction of the schooner. And so in looking at all those different aspects, we realized, you know what, we can afford him to not be working at all outside of the project for a year, because he thought it would take a year. And sure, it'll cost this for engines and this for sails and this for the hull. Yeah, that's feasible, we can do that. But as with any large project, it always goes over budget financially and time-wise, but it was really worth it. It was definitely worth it. We were just chatting about life and probably about boats, and I thought to myself, you know what, we're not getting any younger. And I knew that if we didn't build this schooner, we were both, and in particular, excuse me that I'm tearing up a bit, but that if we didn't build this schooner, that we would live an unfulfilled life. And life is meant to be lived as fully and as completely as possible. And even if it was going to mean we didn't have a cash reserve to live off of in our later years, at least we would have a lot of wonderful memories and amazing experiences, both in the building process as well as in all the adventures we'd have with sailing, that I knew back then that it would be so worth doing this. And here we are.
Dazzling rays off the water plays, and I shield my eyes to take in the clear blue skies. My feet on the rail, the swell of the sail, alive in the breeze, a moment at ease. And you're there, right by my side, and your smile is open and wide. We are here.
So, what makes Hugh Covert different from other boat builders?
Well, I don't know, but for a project like this, you have to have a certain amount of bravery and a certain amount of support to take on a big project like this. It's much harder to do all alone.
What's this line between the joy of the dream and the reality of the business?
It's a lot of work.
Every day.
24 hours a day, self-employed, rubbing pennies still together to make ends meet. And normally our season at home's short. And just have a few months during the summer to do our day sales. And this year we decided to take the love, take the joy elsewhere, farther. And so we're now pulling into small towns and ports on the East Coast on our big tour and showing folks the schooner, encouraging them to live their own dream.
It's hard to make a living just encouraging people, and if people want to be part of this even remotely, you can sure help us out by becoming a supporter and a part of this daily exercise that we do of sharing the boat with people and encouraging people to live their dream and try to bring a little beauty into the world.
Sometimes it's amazing looking at the ship from the dock and seeing folks admiring her and thinking, we built her, we did it. And sometimes I have to pinch myself to say, yeah, we made it happen. And then it's wonderful seeing all the smiles on people's faces. That's the payoff.
Well, my wife Julie was very supportive of the project. She had been on other schooners I'd been driving, and it's a lot of fun. It turned into be kind of a community project. The community there on Drummond was supportive and had lots of helpers, even if they weren't full time, and made it more of a human endeavor as opposed to just somebody frittering away their time on their own.
So You've worked really hard to make your dream a reality. You've worked incredibly hard, and now you're here. What challenges are you facing now as you realize your dream?
I thought you were looking at you. Well, we are here sailing, and the boat is working, and all is great. It does take money to do this, of course, and it's just like going to work every day, except for not drawing paycheck from somebody else. So we are looking for support.
You're very generous people. You've given a lot of yourself. You bring joy to every stop you make and all the people who come on board the boat. How can people help you? How can they give back?
Well, first off, they can do what it takes to make their own dream happen. And then they can put some love in the crew tip jar.
Yeah. Tom Robbins said that the prevalence of societal ugliness makes a commitment to physical beauty imperative. So we're trying to do our part in the world to add a little joy and beauty.
Dazzling rays off the water plays, and I shield my eyes to take in the clear blue skies. My feet on the rail, the swell of the sail, alive in the breeze, a moment at ease. And you're there, right by my side,